ISIS has just released a new video which appears to show a militant beheading a man they claim is a Russian spy. The ISIS member in the video is a white male jihadi holding a knife. He's speaking Russian in the video, and he's making a lot of people online draw a comparison between him and Jihadi John, saying he's the new Jihadi John, but he's Russian. I guess he's ISIS Igor, we can call him for now. But like I said, he's making threats directly to Putin, saying they're gonna take some attacks on Russian soil. We're gonna kill every Russian citizen every time you kill an ISIS member. The kind of thing we see in a lot of these propaganda videos. But this is different. He's not like Jihadi John. He doesn't have the mask covering his face, for example. He's directly, talking to the camera, not scared to show his identity. He has a mushroom cut, which isn't the most threatening thing. He's like a believer. Are you going to cut my head off, or are you Justin Bieber fan? What do you do? What do you think, Jose?
This is one of the, the foundations of ISIS is the ability to react and to adapt, especially in terms of propaganda in media and content that they distribute. And obviously they found the right person, the right spokesperson to talk to the new enemy at turn, that is Russia in this case. ISIS has to develop a new sentiment against Russia because of their involvement with Assad, against not only ISIS but also the rebels in Syria.
Right. I mean, these idiots here that appear as the face, right, of the foreign fighters, whether it's Jihadi John or this guy, they're not important. There's no need to focus on them. It makes a story for the media, and I'm talking about it, I know, so it's a little hypocritical, but what really matters, though, is the fact that these people are easily replaced, right? Yes. First it was Jihadi John, now this guy. All they are propaganda tools for ISIS, for the outside world to say, oh, there's a lot of foreigners out there, the whole world is turning against, the world order, now everyone's joining ISIS. That's what they want us to think, and we have to look at the broader picture here.
But at the same time, we do have to recognize the fact that that's what makes ISIS different from Al-Qaeda, and at some point more successful, is the ability to recruit foreign fighters to join and fight for the cause. So I think that's something that Al-Qaeda tried but was not successful, and ISIS is actually being really successful trying to, but at the same time, the poverty and the lack of security in the region pushes a lot of people to fight for money, and they fight for whoever is paying more. So there's a lot of mercenaries that not necessarily are fighting for a cause or for ideology. They're fighting to survive, literally to survive, because they don't have any other thing to do.
Right. Frontline put out a really good piece on YouTube called ISIS in Afghanistan. You guys should look it up. But they were talking about how ISIS, a lot of people are leaving the Taliban, Al-Qaeda, like you said, to join ISIS, because in Afghanistan, some fighters are getting up to $700 a month. That's a lot of money if you're in Afghanistan. And if you're fighting for some other group, it's obvious why you'd want to switch, right? But look, Russia now seems to be, the one that ISIS is focusing on for now. They've lost 2 jets, a pilot, a whole airliner. Hundreds of people died leaving Egypt. So they've perhaps lost the most here. And I just watched the most recent interview that Assad gave on Czech television. And one thing that he mentioned was how once Russia entered, everything's gotten better. Now we're pushing back ISIS. Now the Western media kind of grabbed onto that one fact and ran with it. But one thing that he said that a lot of people really aren't talking about, you can go online right now and find 100 articles that talked about that one sentence where he was praising Russia, because we wanna be against them. But one thing that he said that was really interesting was that, he said, if the U.S. joins me and Russia, and not just the U.S., the whole U.S. coalition, if the world really comes together here, we can terminate ISIS within a few months. And that's something really important that no one's really talking about, is the fact that we are so split up. And there is a coalition, a U.S. coalition, but there's also, the Russians doing their own things. We're not on the same side. A lot of people are dying just because we don't want to associate ourselves with Assad, who's saying that he's willing to undergo any sort of transition that they want to do. Elections where the UN can come in and monitor. So there seems to be this lack of a real worldwide coalition.
Well, it fits the narrative that the world is divided by 2 axes, the Russians and the US-led coalition. Exactly. It facilitates that, but at the same time, we have to take those words carefully, because the level of we don't know how much the Assad regime works with ISIS and the rebels work with ISIS. It's very, very complex to go by statements, but at the same time it's very, very, very clear that unless we change the route, because it's proven that airstrikes is not the most effective way to finish with ISIS. They've been doing 3,000 airstrikes so far or more, and there's no results. Yet the UK just joins the bombing, and that's the first thing they do. So we keep doing statements, global geopolitical statements of power, instead of getting together and finding a real solution.
Yeah, very good point. So part of a bigger picture, but here we see, the new jihadi giant, ISIS Ivan here from Russia, this time directing attacks towards Putin and the Russian people.